Hi guys, today we're going to be working on a patio extension. This job is going to be one person job and we'll see how long it's gonna take. So first thing we gotta do is build a shoring or support wall, and we're doing that because one beam that's facing out the part of patio cover has to be replaced. It is 4 by 6 and we need to put 4 by 10 because customer doesn't want that third post in the middle of it. But in order to do that, we have to to build a supporting wall so it holds the whole weight of the patio cover. And this is what I'm working on right now. Now, when you build in the wall like that, you have to make sure that every stud lands right under the rafter, and it gives that extra support that it needs to. You also need to make sure you have the top plate, either single 2 by 4, depending on the weight, or double one. And as you can see here, I'm adding braces, cross braces, to make this wall a little bit stronger. Like I said earlier, it's going to be one person job from the beginning to the end, including lifting two beams up in the air and setting it on posts. Please stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of interesting stuff going on. Thank you for watching. As you can see, we already started removing 4 by 6 beam because the wall was finished, and so now we have that extra support. Now I'm setting a new post for a new beam. That's gonna be roughly 17 feet long, and it's gonna be 4 by 10. This is a new post that we're gonna have on outer part of patio cover addition, and we decided to reuse the original beam that was installed in that patio because it was still in good shape, not to remind damage or anything. So instead of using 2 by 4, we decided, I mean 4 by 4, we decided to go ahead and reuse the 4 by 6 beam that we already had there. And I'm right now just mounting it in so we can do some measurements and cut it to the size. We're going to be using laser level to put our markings on where the posts need to be cut, and we're counting for some of the slope because we want the water to drain. Right now, I'm making braces for that post, and this is something that I came up with using some heavy duty gate hinges, um, and attaching them the 2 by 4, and then you can easily adjust them as you need when you use them as a brace. Um, and right now I'm just attaching the hinge to 2 by 4, and then we're gonna attach the 2 by 4 to the concrete with a couple with a couple of concrete screws. And as you can see, it makes it kind of easy to level the post. Always a good idea to apply primer before you set your post. Okay guys, we just had two beams delivered. They are 4 by 10 by 18 feet. And as you can see, I set them on those supports that we just installed. And we're gonna be lifting these beams up. That would be the next thing we're gonna do. It is time to start lifting these beams and setting them on the posts. The day before we installed the 4 short post spacers, and we tightened them with a ratchet type of ties, and that gave us 3.5 inch spacing, so we can attach 2x4 to it, and we can slide the beam up and down as we need to. The 2x4 that I'm mounting on right now is just like a guard, and it's a temporary structure. We're going to remove it after we're done lifting that beam up in the air. Each time I lift the beam, I install a piece of 2x4 across between the post and the 2x4 as a support, and it holds it there until I'm ready to lift the beam again. But just for your information, this beam is approximately 170 to 180 pounds, and it took us, myself and the truck driver who delivered it, to bring it to the backyard and set it where they were. And you can see right now I'm installing that plate. It's a temporary supporting plate, and we are already up almost all the way to the top. Just maybe a couple more steps, and it should be done. Here's how I do it. When I lift the beam on one side, I wedge it with a 2x4 or a 4x4, whatever I have there. And after that, I install the cross supporting 2x4 piece, and then I can remove all those wedges that I put in. Alright guys, so we are ready for final lift, and we are ready to set it on the post. So just a little bit of adjustments here and there, and it goes right on that post. Alright, first beam is installed. Now it is time to install second beam. The day before we made those platforms where the beams are sitting on, and these 2x4s, we pre-drilled holes in them, and we're gonna show you what those are for. But this beam is gonna go up on the top of that post. Here's what we're doing. I had some 4x6 left over from when we removed some beam above, and we're using those pieces as a spacers, so we can attach 2x4s to them. And it would be 4 inches, well, 3.5 inches actually, what we need between the post and the 2x4. And you can see right now that the beam is already sitting on one of those 4x6 short posts that we installed. And now I'm just drilling holes for support cross 2x4s that we're going to be using as we lift our beam. We're just going to be installing these pieces between the 2x4 and the post. Those will hold the beam in place. And by the way, the beam is 4x10 by 17. It was 18 foot, and we cut about 1 foot off of it. And they say it weighs about 170, maybe 180 pounds. So we're going to be lifting that guy up shortly. Alright guys, we're ready to rock and roll, and the first thing we're gonna do is just use some scrap pieces that I have laying from cutting the beam, and 2x4s that we're going to be using as a space as we lift the beam up. Now I'm going to attach the 2x4 to those 2x6s that we tied down yesterday. And this is just a temporary support that we're gonna have next to that post. So when we lift that beam, we have another 2x4 that's kind of gonna, prevent it from going sideways, hopefully. So we're gonna have to put 2x4s on both sides, of course, and I'm just attaching it with like 3 screws, because really there is not much pressure that's going on that 2x4. Most of the pressure going down, pressing downward on that 4x6 and whatever we're gonna put under it. So we just, like I said, we're using any kind of spaces that we have laying around. You can use 2x6s, 2x4s, whatever you have there. I just happen to have some cuts from beam and some other pieces that we had left over from a 2x6 post that I cut up, and we just using those spacers as we lift. So here you see I'm putting one of those spacers in there, and I'm lifting it, and I set the 2x4 to hold it in place before I put support, before I screw in support pieces. I have a 2x4 brace ready, and we're going to do one more lift. So we're getting closer to the top now. Okay, we're about to do the final lift, but I'm just putting an extra extension to that 2x4 that we installed earlier, just in case. So now we're ready to set it on the post on the very top. On the other side, we need to do a minor adjustment to the height of the post because the beam was sitting too tight between the fascia board and the post. So we're just gonna shave off a little bit off of the post for the beam to fit through. We don't want to slam it in there. So we did a little bit of adjustment, and it slides right in, and both sides are in, and we have the beam up in the air with one person. Alright guys, next step is installing rafters. That can be done also with one person. What I did is I attached 2x4 on each end of the rafter, and then you can set them in place. When you do it that way, it makes it easier to install permanent metal brackets that hold them in place, and you can also move them from to where you need where they're going to be permanently located. I mean mounted. So this is how I did it, and I'm sure if they're longer, you're probably gonna need a helper. But in this particular case, they were only 12 feet long, and so I was able to do it myself. guys, all rafters are done, and I am installing plywood and just cutting sizes that I need, and we're just gonna attach them to rafters and get it all ready for roofing. Plywood is installed, and the next step is installing roofing. Right now I'm installing self-adhesive roofing underlayment, and um, this type of underlayment is the easiest one to install. All you do is just peel and stick, and you can install it directly on the plywood. Once you set it in place and the sun hits it and the glue melts, and you cannot remove that underlayment anymore. So it's like a permanent solution, and it saves you time uh, and money, even though it costs a little bit more than the regular underlayment. it is done. I'm very impressive with that material. It was easy to install, and it saved a lot of time. Okay, guys, the project is finished. It took 4 days, and the costs were around $1,500 for materials. It would have been done faster, but we had to wait for materials redelivery. They brought us wrong type of beams. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.